Let me just say that I was really excited when I got invited to be the keynote speaker for this conference. I was even more excited when I heard the topic for this conference: instruction, research, and the extension of e-learning. Honestly, these are three of my favourite parts of education. My background originally started out being a music teacher. I was a high school music teacher for 4 years before I made the move to go to Macquarie University to work as an online educational designer. At Macquarie University, I was helping them transition from using Blackboard to using Moodle. I was a part of a really big team that worked on training academics, but we also worked on setting up the Moodle that Macquarie decided to implement, as far as the templates and the design and the training and workshop and resources that we implemented. Since Macquarie University, I've been working with a project called PLANE. PLANE stands for Pathways for Learning Anywhere, Anytime, a network for educators. The project provides online professional learning for all of Australia's teachers, both pre-service and in-service, as well as teacher leaders. It's a very exciting project and there's none like it. And it's its first year this year, and we've had some wonderful success stories, including a very exciting 2-day conference in October this year. So, instruction, research, and the extension of e-learning. I decided to think of all three separately first, before I decided to think more closely about what the extension of e-learning looks like. I write a lot on my blog about instructional design, and a little while ago I was looking into different instructional design models and how they've been used over the years. So this infographic looks at instructional design models right back as far as 1946. These instructional design models are quite important ones throughout history, and if you look through research, you'll find that particularly Cagney, Bloom, Dick and Carey, and the ADDIE model are quite well known and still very relevant and well used today. I love Sweller's work on cognitive load theory, and I'm really interested in constructivism and the different approaches for that. But the guiding question: what does instructional design look like now? What is it in modern day, 21st century learning? I believe these models still have a place in the design of teaching and learning experiences, but I think it's also important for those in creating learning experiences to embrace the here and now with our students and how they are learning. Teachers need to know how their students learn these days, and a lot of it is through learning informally, playing with games, browsing the internet, and just experimenting with technology. This should be considered when you're designing learning experiences. So here's some definitions of instruction. And whilst the definitions haven't changed very much between 1966 and 2005, as you can see in these definitions, what has changed over the years is the tools that are being used in instruction and delivering instruction to learners. Once upon a time, people were using chalkboards, a pen and paper for the majority of their instruction. These days, a lot of instruction is online. It's on their mobile devices, and it's even in the virtual world. So I think it's really important to think about instruction and how it's relevant today, how it's being conducted today. And I'm going to be looking at a bit of that today in my presentation. In preparation for this keynote, I was also thinking about what is the impact that research has on education. Research, to me, informs best practice, and the improvement of education in all areas. Research doesn't have to be formal though. Informal inquiry in teaching and learning can also be considered research. I personally love to sit down at my computer and spend hours researching on the internet in particular areas of education and technology that are interesting to me. As a learning and instructional designer, I try and keep up to date with research in the fields of instructional design, usability of the web, technologies that are high on the research agenda of academics globally, and open educational resources. I like to read such reports as the Horizon Report and have a look at what up and coming technologies are going to be really popular and well used in the next few years. Before we look at what the extension of e-learning looks like, we have to think about, well, what is e-learning? The E stands for electronic. But is it limited to just being electronic? Is it confined to the web? Whilst it is everything electronic, I think people tend to think of e-learning as being online web learning, using the internet. It's using your mobile devices, it's using your tablet devices. But I've heard it said it's even using things like your GPS. It's making use of technology, using electronic technology to engage people in a learning activity. Best part about e-learning for me is that students get to play an active role in their learning processes. And what you'll see today throughout my presentation is that there are so many ways for you to facilitate this interactivity with their learning and new information. So, the Meta e-learning framework. When I was considering what I think are the best ways to extend e-learning experiences, I came up with 4 key areas that form the acronym for Meta e-learning, a framework for research-based instruction and the extension of e-learning. It's a framework designed to facilitate optimum e-learning experiences. The M stands for Moodle. The E is in the enhancement with personalization of an e-portfolio system. The T is the guidance by the tech variety model. And A is the applications, both online and mobile, that can help extend e-learning experiences, but also personalize them. So, why is Moodle the only one specific in my framework? Well, I'm a big fan of Moodle, so there may be a little bias there. However, Moodle is the only specific element because as a learning management system, it's open source, it's flexible, and it's customizable. No one instance of Moodle is the same, as institutions can customize it in so many different ways. I love the endless possibilities that Moodle presents. Moodle comes with a core setup and the inclusion of certain resources and activities, but each Moodle user can decide on extra plugins and modules that can be used to extend the Moodle configuration. The configuration just refers to the separate instances of Moodle in each institution. The potential in Moodle goes beyond the core, with the ability for Moodle users to even write their own plugins that continue extending the teaching and learning opportunities provided by Moodle. Unfortunately, though, I see so many different institutions and schools who don't use Moodle to its full potential and use it more as a content management system, dumping files and URLs, and not as it's intended as a learning management system. I also chose Moodle because the community of professionals who work with Moodle are one of the most influential and insightful that I've been part of, and sharing amongst the community is how people learn to use Moodle to its full potential. I've been to a number of Moodle events already in the last few years. I've presented at Moodle Moot and Moodleposium last year, and I found them the most valuable experiences professionally for me, and getting engaged with the community has proved very valuable and worthwhile. So I'd encourage you to visit the forums at moodle.org or get along to a Moodle Moot or Moodleposium, any of the Moodle conferences, if you can. At the Moodle conference this year, Martin Dougiamas, who designed Moodle, shared this image with us. The image illustrates the difference between Moodle and other open source platforms, which are fragmented. They're fragmented because the modules are all different teaching and learning purposes, whereas Moodle is made up of a core configuration, additional plugins and modules, but it's customizable in that you can make small modifications to these as well to make it exactly what you would like. It's continuously developed and shaped on a good course design and learning design philosophy, and the contributions made by the community members in forums and conferences. The philosophy of Moodle is founded on social constructionism. Moodle offers collaborative opportunities for both the instructor and the learner to build new knowledge and skills together. The nature of many of the Moodle resources and activities developed as core parts of Moodle allow instructors to facilitate the building of new knowledge within a community of practice. The perspective of each individual within the learning context enhances the knowledge taken away by each member of the community, because the meaning and significance of that information to one person may be completely different to another. Social constructionism is simply constructing new knowledge alongside others within a community. As you'll see when I show you some of the examples, Moodle is very collaborative, and the opportunities for interaction with each other within Moodle is quite large. So, what makes up Moodle? Moodle is made up of the core resources, including files, URLs, pages, books, IMS packages, and it's made up of activities, blogs, databases, forums, quizzes, wikis, and these are only just a few of the activities you can include. There is a really long list. Here's a screenshot from the Moodle plugins directory. So as you can see, there is many different ways for you to customize your Moodle instance with different themes, course formats, activities, and blocks. Blocks feature on the side of Moodle pages, and they can really add to your course's experience as well by bringing in outside information in things like RSS feeds, or by providing summaries and shortcuts for courses within your institute. In 2010, the Moodle Tool Guide for Teachers was developed by educational technologist Joyce Seitzinger. She's also known as Cat's Pajamas on Twitter. Joyce designed this tool to compare the functionality and pedagogical advances of some of the Moodle tools. The tool guide has been used by educational institutes all over the world, and even translated into those different languages. It's been redesigned and redeveloped for Moodle 1.9, 2, and I believe it's even been redesigned for 2.2. The guide to me shows how Moodle extends e-learning beyond simply using technology for information transfer, but it shows how it's used for assessment for learning, facilitating communication, collaboration, and the creation of new content. It shows me that Moodle helps students go from the lower order thinking to higher order practical application of their learning. To me, this is the epitome of extending e-learning experiences. As you can see, it's color-coded, and the pedagogical areas it addresses are the information transfer, assessment for learning, communication, creating content, and co-creating content, and the Bloom's taxonomy. It looks at what tools are going to suit those pedagogical needs and gives you a guide about what's the best fit, what might work with some learning design, and what won't work. Down the bottom, it also gives you an indication of how to use the guide, a tip on how to be creative with discussion forums, and some links to some key Moodle help areas. When I worked at Macquarie University, I discovered this tool, and I decided I wanted to customize it for the way that we were using Moodle. At Macquarie University, we called our Moodle instance iLearn. And iLearn wasn't just Moodle, but it was Moodle. It was Aquella, a content management system. It was Echo 360, a lecture recording software. And it was many other different tools all integrated within Moodle to provide an all-round comprehensive and extended e-learning experience for students at Macquarie University. As a team, we looked at this model, this matrix, and decided on our own key pedagogical areas, being providing information, feedback, assessment for learning, communication, collaboration, and creation of content. And it was hoped that this matrix would be a tool that training and support officers, as well as online educational designers, could use in design meetings with academics to help inform the choices they made about resources and activities that they would use in their courses. I changed the colour scheme a little bit, and we provided links down the bottom to our own quick guides and workshop schedule. This is the block from within Moodle in Macquarie University's instance of Moodle, and it shows you a quick summary of lots of the activities that could be used within Moodle. Assignment submissions, books, chats that worked pretty much like a Facebook chat, databases, dialogues, forums. Group selections became very popular. Lessons were sort of choose your own pathway kinds of activities. There was the OU blogs. Quizzes were very popular. Turn-it-in assignments for plagiarism checking when submitting an assignment online. Wikis and workshops. We went through many months of team discussions and planning to decide on the configuration we would install and run with. And it involved talking about the 3 S's: the skin, structure, and stuff. We had to decide about the design of our Moodle configuration, which was the skin or the template, the overall look and feel of our Moodle instance. The structure of Moodle concerned what blocks we would have fixed to the page, and the course format, which was collapsed topic format. If you haven't seen collapsed topic format in Moodle, look it up. It's quite a versatile topic format, and it has been shown at many conferences and received really great feedback. The stuff in our 3 S's was the resources and activities we would put in the drop-down menus for academics to use. Watching the academics transition from Blackboard to Moodle was really interesting, as in Blackboard most of them hadn't used anything interactive. Some have used quizzes, but when they made the move to Moodle and saw how easy it was to use, they started extending the e-learning experiences they offered their students with so many different activities, and it was great to see their excitement to learn how to do that. This is a quick view of how quizzes look in Moodle. And as I said, quizzes were really popular in at Macquarie University when we started using Moodle. And it got to the stage where they were pushing the boundaries with how quizzes operated. And I led a team to look at how we could make Moodle quizzes even more extended and enhanced, looking at different plugins and different modules that we could add to it to do even more advanced things. This is a quick screen capture of my sandbox, an area where I sort of developed and played around with different resources and activities to see how they worked. But you can see that we added discussion forums, PDFs, wikis, and the group selection activity was really popular as people learnt the potential of using groups. And the group selection activity allowed academics to set up an activity for their students to select which groups they were going to go in. The database activity proved really popular as well. Students could contribute to databases and create their own repository of resources within a course. You can see the blocks down the right-hand side of this page as well. They were quite flexible. Grabbing HTML embed code, you could just embed them within a HTML block and really enhance the opportunities your course provided for students. This is a look at what a learning experience in plain looks like. A little bit different. We rely a little bit more on icons and hyperlinks and not so much on the resources and activities within Moodle. You can see that this topic format is tabbed. It's called the one topic format. And embedding YouTube videos is quite popular within many Moodle courses. It's very easy to do as well. And it just offers that extra dimension in an e-learning experience. Learners can even embed their own videos and other multimedia within their own spaces and activities, such as a forum, a wiki, or database. This kind of opportunity for learners to share resources they have found is what Moodle is about. It's that social constructionism and allows learners to go beyond simply learning to sharing, collaborating, and giving back to the community. This is another topic format called the grid view. And it gives you a pop-up page, so it's also quite flexible as well and visually very appealing. The next element of my framework, Meta e-learning, is the E, which stands for e-portfolios. E-portfolios are a great way for students to collect evidence of their learning, to actively reflect on their learning, and showcase their learning to future employees or to accreditation institutes. It helps the assessment of learning and it gives academics a really good outline of what students are learning and reflecting on and gathering during the learning process. There's some wall art in Thailand, and the story goes that the blind man and the elephant parable is a metaphor that illuminates why confusion can occur for those new to e-portfolios. In different versions of the tale, a group of men touch the elephant to learn what it is like. Each one feels a different part, but only one part, such as the side or the tusk. They then compare notes and learn that they are in complete disagreement. This is a similar experience different users will have with e-portfolios. There is a need to gain an overview of the purposes for using an e-portfolio in order to fully understand the potential of it. Instructors and academics need to think about the purpose of using an e-portfolio and the different perspectives on using it. You've got to consider why you would implement it. This infographic from Flickr Creative Commons. It's very busy and full, but it's a great summary of how an e-portfolio might be integrated and used in e-learning, extending the experience offered to students. E-portfolios allow learners to collect digital artifacts to represent their e-learning experiences, resources that they may have collected, but also that they have created out of their new knowledge and skills that they have developed. E-portfolios are flexible and can be carried on throughout different e-learning contexts and built on as new knowledge builds on background knowledge. E-portfolios are very personal experiences with both great personal and professional rewards. Evidencing your learning in such a way will go towards career planning and the development of a comprehensive CV. I've used an online tool called Visual CV to make my CV, and adding in digital artifacts to that CV is a great way to represent yourself professionally to a future employer. In Helen Barrett's work entitled Balancing the Two Faces of E-Portfolios, she sums up two particular purposes in using an e-portfolio and how that impacts learners: how it is organized, what it looks like as a product, and the results of this approach. In her work, she quotes Karen Barnstable, who produced a series of blog posts that outlined different elements of using e-portfolios. She has a post entitled 41 Benefits of an E-Portfolio, which describes the benefits of e-portfolios from both a process and product perspective. From the process perspective, she says that students using e-portfolios, they will discover a valuable exercise in self-assessment through reflection. This will help them reach new depths of understanding, develop their self-confidence and self-esteem, and help them develop goals for future learning. These images may appear a little bit small, but they're a really great way of understanding how to use an e-portfolio in 6 steps. Define how you're going to use the e-portfolio, why you're going to use the tool, what tool you're going to use as an e-portfolio. Understand e-portfolio based learning, prepare for it, scaffold the learning, guide students as to how they need to use their e-portfolio. Step 4, engage them. Engage your academic colleagues in learning about e-portfolios as well, and get them to model it. Implement the e-portfolio, and then review the process of implementation and see what else you might need to do to help students utilize it in the best possible way. I use my blog as an e-portfolio, constantly reflecting on my own learning, and I find that this is a really valuable experience. In Plain, we have an e-portfolio system called Mahara, and it's integrated with Moodle like no other institute has done, but it is very valuable.
Every educator on Plain has their own customizable online space, your professional learning portfolio. It's a platform to centralize digital materials that will document and evidence the progress of your professional learning over time. Use this portfolio to set and monitor professional learning goals and mark them as complete. Create pages for each ICT topic you're interested in. On the pages, you can post links to ICT tools or external information like YouTube videos or news articles. Drag and drop blocks of information to populate your pages. When you enroll in a course, a learning quest, or a skilled snack on Plain, a new page will be automatically created in your portfolio where you can evidence your professional learning about that ICT tool or topic. Pages can be grouped into collections that are displayed as a row of tabs. All pages are private, or you can share them with friends or colleagues. You can also allow feedback and comments. And when you complete a course, a learning quest, or a skilled snack, a certificate will be added to your portfolio. All these blocks of information make up the rich evidence of your professional ICT training that you can build on over a lifetime of learning.
So as you can see from that, we have integrated Mahara, and we make extensive use of this by making it a mandatory requirement that teachers complete learning experiences and populate an evidence page in their Mahara ePortfolio. The purpose of this evidence page is to evaluate their learning outcomes against teaching standards to gain accredited hours of professional development. That's the mandatory element of it. If they want to get accredited professional development hours, they go through the evidence page system to show the evidence of their learning. The accredited hours go towards their accredited professional learning with the New South Wales Institute of Teachers, and in the future, national. I think this evidence page system and the integration of the ePortfolio has really extended what Plain has done with e-learning experiences, in that it's not simply a completion of e-learning experiences, but users are actively reflecting on what they have learnt. They're creating their own resources and adding them to their evidence pages, sharing them with groups, and then using them to showcase to others and in their accreditation processes. This image shows a group page made in Plain using Mahara, and it provides the information for users to know what they must do in their portfolio on their evidence page in order to gain accredited professional learning hours for their learning. Users can share their portfolios with the group for feedback, as well as to collaborate and learn from each other. The e-learning experience that Plain users have is extended through self-reflection, encouragement, and through the steps taken to gain formal acknowledgement of the learning. But even more so, it's extended when it's shared with the community and contributes to the overall learning achievements of the group. Again, it goes back to social constructionism as well. This is an image of the forums that take place within the group, and this discussion based on the learning experiences is another great way of extending the e-learning experience. Most of the e-learning experiences in Plain aren't facilitated constantly by a staff member, but whilst we do go in and take part in the forums and keep discussions going, it's very much largely facilitated and kept running by the community of practice, the Plain users, who generally love collaborating and sharing with each other what they're learning. These are images of how we link to evidence pages, to the journal aspect of the ePortfolio, and to the group forums. So again, we use the icons and hyperlinks a lot, but we always go back to the evidence page and the group forums throughout all of our e-learning experiences. A colleague of mine who played a key part in the development of Plain's Moodle and Mahara integration also designed and developed this course to take a Plain user step by step through the ePortfolio system and how to use it in their learning. Again, you don't necessarily have to use Mahara to create an ePortfolio system, but I think it's about making sure you identify the purpose for using an ePortfolio and then thinking about the specific software that might be the best for your institution. You might just want to use blogs or wikis to create ePortfolios, and they are great tools as well. The Tech Variety Model. I first discovered this model in May of this year when I completed the MOOC run by Dr. Curtis Bonk from Indiana State University. The MOOC was called Instructional Ideas and Technology Tools for Online Success. The MOOC, which, if you don't know what a MOOC stands for, Massively Open Online Course, and this was a massive open online course. It had at least 2,000 participants from all over the world. It had a great impact on me, and what I learned from it was significant. I've also continued to make connections with Dr. Bonk through email and got to meet him only just recently when he came to Australia. Dr. Bonk shared a lot of his research in this MOOC, including the R2D2 model and the Tech Variety model. I found both of these models to be very practical ways of designing instruction in the 21st century and designing e-learning experiences that cater for all learning types. And their main focus is on engagement and motivation. Dr. Bonk has done a lot of research into engagement, motivation, and retention. I'm going to talk about the Tech Variety Model and applications element of the Meta e-learning framework together, as the Tech Variety framework closely informs how an instructor might actually effectively integrate Web 2 and mobile applications with e-learning experiences as well. Bonk was still in the process of writing his book about the Tech Variety Model when I did the MOOC, but he kindly emailed me all of his complete chapters. In his book, he details and explains 100 or more activities for implementing the Tech Variety Model, which he says compartmentalizes the web into a few principles or ideas that, when combined, can powerfully boost the chances for online success. The Tech Variety Model is concerned with engaging learners and keeping them motivated in the e-learning experience. The Tech Variety Model purposely takes into account current technology, current trends, and research towards engaging and motivating learners, boosting the retention, increasing the rate of students who are completing online experiences. What is Web 2? To me, Web 2 transforms the web from static to collaborative and interactive and social. The term was coined in 2004 by Tim O'Reilly of O'Reilly Media, when the shift was being made in the development of applications and the web was going from information transfer to interactive and collaborative and social. The Tech Variety Model has 10 main principles and is based on a number of prominent psychological principles based on the research into engagement and motivation. The research has also been conducted in corporate and military training, as well as catered to schools and higher education environments. The author's research shows that these principles play a key role in online learning success. Success occurs when learners feel that they know each other well. It also occurs when there is choice and flexibility in learning, when students take ownership over their learning, and when galleries of learning projects and products are on display for others to discuss and debate. Such environments are more hands-on, collaborative, and active. Bonk shared this in his book, and to me, the Tech Variety Model can guide and facilitate these kinds of educational transformations. So, tone, climate, encouragement, curiosity, variety, autonomy, relevance, interactivity, engagement, tension, and yields. I'm going to go through each of these and share some technologies that can be utilized to implement this model. Most of the technologies are Web 2 technologies, and they're certainly not the only technologies and tools that can be used, as the model is one open to interpretation and adaptation, with Dr. Bonk and his colleague expressing the wish for this to happen. So, tone and climate. This is about creating a safe environment for learning, the feeling of belonging, of comfort. So, some of the activities that Dr. Bonk suggests are icebreaker discussions, alternative introductions given by the academics, or I even thought that Voki could be a great way for students to record an introduction to their own peers. A Voki is simply a text-to-voice animated video using an avatar. Boosting the psychological safety and comfort and belonging of the situation can happen when you give students roles in creating content. And this can be done through using a wiki in Moodle. Another activity you could get them to do is to change their profile picture in Moodle to an avatar and explain why they use that particular avatar. It might not look anything like them, but get them to do an icebreaker that explains why they use that avatar. You can see here on the screen my avatar, which is my plain avatar, so I look a bit like a pilot. Encouragement is all about giving the students feedback, responses and supports. So there's many tools online for providing quizzes that give them feedback. They don't have to be formal quizzes, but they could be informal quizzes that give students feedback on how they're going. I encouraged a lot of academics at Macquarie University to use quizzes even formally as well as formally, just so that their students had a quick way of testing themselves and where they were up to with the content of the course. You could support students through creating tutorial videos or instructional guides to show them how to do things. I've done that in plain and created many instructional guides in PDF and video form. You could even run a support session online using Adobe Connect, a web conferencing tool. And as I detailed earlier for you, providing feedback on learning can be done through the ePortfolio, and we do that a lot through Plain with the evidence pages, as some Plain members will review the evidence page and provide comments and feedback. The community members can also contribute to the feedback on evidence pages. The element of curiosity. This is a fun element, adding fantasy on control and just that element of play. So a lot of academics at Macquarie University and even at Plain in our learning design, we add stimulus videos, and these don't have to be serious. This could be a music video or a comic relief to just add stimulus material to the learning experience and get them thinking about the content maybe in a fun way. You could use games, and game design is very big on research in the research agenda for education at the moment, and utilizing games in education is a great way to add fun to education. You could use virtual worlds, and Second Life is certainly not the only one. I have colleagues who work with Minecraft in an initiative called Massively Minecraft, and this has elements of fun, fantasy and control everywhere. Badges. There are elements of game design or game mechanics, and when I did the MOOC with Dr. Bonk, I found it quite motivating to work towards getting a badge, even though I wasn't quite sure it was going to mean anything in my CV or anything. I found it motivating to just earn a badge. And we also use this system in Plain a lot with missions and with our game layer. The element of variety. There is a number of ways you could add that element of variety. Novelty, intrigue, and the unknowns. Dr. Bonk suggests in his book, one of his suggestions was one I really liked, was the cool resource provider, and having students take turns providing resources and stimulus materials for a certain week within the course on particular topic areas. They could curate these resources using a tool such as Scoopit, which can curate resources from all over the web. You could present information in a new and alternate form. So you could use tools such as Visually and Easily, which are infographic creation tools. And I've been playing a lot with them lately, and they're really fun ways to present your information. You could create and present information in new ways by using Storify. You can curate information from Twitter and create a blog post or a presentation out of those Twitter posts. Autonomy. Giving students a choice, giving them flexibility and opportunities within their learning experience is also very valuable. Choice on how they present their materials for assessments or for how they might reflect on their learning and create a resource using some tools. Powtoon is a really great new presentation tool that's been developed, and it has a lot of great visuals to be used for presentations. You could also give them choice on how they access new knowledge. Give them an activity, but don't dictate how you want them to access the information and get where you want them to get the information for it, what kind of format you want the information to be in. Give them some control, some choice, and be flexible. Relevance is about making the learning experience meaningful, authentic, and interesting. What are others saying? Go to Twitter, and Twitter is so up to date in real life. You can see what others are saying. You can use hashtags and search what people are saying on a particular area. You can make it authentic and relevant using a tool such as Google Earth to really have an in-depth look into a landmark, if that's within the context of your e-learning experience. Simulations. There's a virtual open heart surgery simulation on the web that I've seen a few times. And there are other simulations out there that could be used to give users a really authentic experience of an area that they're studying. Interactive. The opportunities for interactivity in e-learning using Web 2 applications is unlimited. And it's not just Web 2 applications, it's all of their mobile and tablet applications as well. These are not just interactive, but they're also personal. They can collaborate and share using things like Google Docs and Google+, Google Groups. Social bookmarking as well. I'd ran a project at Macquarie University where I got a course of 120 or more students into Diigo in groups where they bookmarked resources for their group assignment, commented on these resources and how valid they were and how valuable they were to the assignment. And it was a really interactive way of gathering the resources and reflecting on them as they were writing the assignment. There's lots of interactive mind mapping tools as well that can be very valuable. Engagement is thinking about effort, involvement, and excitement. Getting students involved in their learning, building community, social networking, all of those kinds of things can help engage them. I think it goes back to them having a role, so back to the tone and climate. Encouraging them will engage them as well. Having that fun element will engage them. So a lot of these principles in the tech writing model also feed off each other. Engaging them also, to me, is about harnessing that e-portfolio technology and getting them to put effort into showcasing their new knowledge. And they might find that really rewarding. Tension. It's an interesting element, but it's about giving them a challenge or providing controversy that might stimulate conversation. I think looking at the blogs of others in a particular area that you're studying can sometimes bring about controversy and tension because it gets you to think about the content from the different perspectives of others in that field. It can be quite a conversation starter. Again, go back to Twitter. There's always controversy and more opinions on Twitter. And again, also use YouTube videos. And finally, yields. Creating products, success, goals, and having ownership over your learning experience. WordPress. Create a blog and share what you're learning. This is a great way to show success, to produce a product, and to set yourself goals. Blogster is a great online postering tool and another great way to create infographics that represent what you've learned. You could add videos and audios to your blogs as well. So you'd have a great multimedia presentation of what you've learned, as well as using Powtoon for creating your own presentation. These kinds of products can also be implemented and integrated into your e-portfolio as well. So, in conclusion, I want you to take away these key points. Use instructional design models and newer models like the Tech Variety model to make intentional choices about the technology you use in e-learning. Be creative and push the boundaries of what a technology can do. Don't settle for the core, but extend what is offered both technically and pedagogically. Don't just content dump. Don't just use files and links. Be creative. What can it do outside what it was created to do originally? Provide a personal learning experience for students that gives them more takeaways than just completed assessment tasks. Help students develop lifelong learning skills and a passion for continuing learning. Be clear on your purpose for implementing something and how you're implementing it. Engage your students and motivate them. Learning can be fun. Be willing to explore what is available on the web. What applications could extend the e-learning experiences you design? I hope you can take away some of these points and implement them into your own e-learning experiences, extending the opportunities that you provide for your students, but also for yourself. By extending the e-learning experiences that you're providing your students, you're extending the experience that you have of e-learning as well.